I would say that a contest between two black Americans would say that it's not about color. And I've been saying that. It wasn't about color, which is why President Obama got elected. It's not about color that I am now in the top tier of the Republican nomination. Some people want to say that there's still, rampant racism in America. No, it's not.
We're back. That was Herman Cain at an event in Ohio last night talking about the potential historic moment of two African Americans, one an incumbent president and the other currently the front runner in the Republican presidential field facing off in a general election. Cain's comments came right before the dedication this weekend of the Martin Luther King Memorial, National Memorial here in Washington. Is Cain right? Is this country beyond color? Congressman Emanuel Cleaver is the chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus. Sir, thank you for joining us. And Nia Malika Henderson is with the Washington Post. Thank you, Nia, for joining us tonight. This question of these two guys running, I want to show you something from Herman Cain, Congressman, and have your reaction to it. He's talking about some things about the president, which I find interesting. In an interview with Bloomberg View, columnist Jeffrey Goldberg back in June, Cain stressed that he preferred being called American rather than African American, then went on to contrast his upbringing with that of President Obama. Cain is reported to have said, quote, "Most of the ancestors that I can trace were born here in the United States of America. Barack Obama is more of an international. Look, he was raised in Kenya. His mother was white from Kansas, and her family and had an influence on him. It's true, but his dad was Kenyan." Goldberg went on to correct Cain in his interview by telling him Obama spent 4 years of his youth abroad in Indonesia, never in Kenya. Why, sir, is it your estimate? Now, this is psychobabble to some extent, but why on God's earth would Herman Cain, a man of obvious educational background, say that the president grew up in Kenya when everyone on earth now knows he was born in the United States, lived here his life, hardly ever met his father from Kenya, has no real actual mental roots in Kenya, and certainly no experience there?
Well, unfortunately, the United States is suffering through a period where elected officials, even those who are pursuing elective office, are willing to engage in fact-free discussions and fact-free debates. You said everybody on earth knows that he was not raised in Kenya. That's not quite true. The facts are that he wasn't born in Kenya. There are people who will look at the facts and still declare that he was born in Kenya or, somewhere in Siberia, whatever. And it's unfortunate because as we are, 48 years since Martin Luther King delivered his I Have a Dream speech on the Mall here in Washington, we still have some issues of race, and it's something that people are uncomfortable talking about. And the fact that people are uncomfortable means that we still have issues. For example, nobody now has discomfort when we talk about what used to happen to people who are left-handed. In some instances they were killed, but nobody's uncomfortable about that now. So as long as we have discomfort, it means we still have a problem.
Let me go to Nia Malika Henderson of the Washington Post. In covering this race, is there any way to detect whether this push for Mr. Cain is real or not on the Republican side? Republicans are not known for running African-American candidates, nor are they known since the time of maybe the 60s, since really going back further than that, before Roosevelt, for being the party of African-Americans, generally speaking, that all of a sudden they might have one as their nominee. Some people are skeptical.
Yeah, I think you can draw a straight line from Michael Steele to Herman Cain, and even, quite frankly, from Barack Obama to Herman Cain. And he sort of set the groundwork for this party and this country being open to an African-American president. But if you talk to Republicans on the ground in some of these early states, it isn't really clear that Herman Cain actually has any sort of ground game, any sort of infrastructure. He's going to report what his earnings and what sort of money he's raised over the last quarter. It's going to be about $400,000. So he doesn't have the engine yet behind him that could power him to the nomination. But he certainly has some fans. You heard Newt Gingrich, for instance, say that it's difficult to now label the Republican Party as a party that has a race problem because you have Cain surging to the top of these polls.
I guess my topic right now is for both of you, Nia, and for Congressman Cleaver. Is there a post-racial society afoot here as we anoint, or actually formally dedicate the Martin Luther King Memorial here this weekend with the president serving as the main person there? Is it behind us or in front of us? The race problem of America, the conflict. Sir, you up first.
No, we're not through with the issue of race. I would like for us to be, and we've certainly made tremendous progress, but we've not been able to push that issue completely in the background. We still need people like Martin Luther King who are not willing to leave well enough alone on the issue of race. I think in days to come, we're going to make it to a point where all of us are comfortable. We're not there yet, and all you have to do is look at the things that are happening to President Barack Obama. And I'm not talking about with regard to legitimate complaints against his policies. I'm talking about some of the things that we've seen here in Washington with mustaches, Hitler mustaches,
sure,
and members of Congress calling him names, Sambo and so forth. So it's unfortunate that we haven't moved further, but we have made tremendous progress. The fact that we're going to have this unveiling of the memorial is a statement about where we are as a country.
Nia, what do you think about all this as a reporter, the race condition of the country as a young person?
Well, I think if we could focus a little bit, on Herman Cain, I think Herman Cain is on the one hand saying that we're in a post-race country, but at the same time, he seems to play the race card when it comes to talking about African Americans, talking about the ways in which they vote for Democrats. It's not something that he would, for instance, say about white evangelicals who vote in overwhelming numbers for Bush, something like 75 to 80%, and for McCain, something like 73%. So I think there is still a grappling that this country has to do with race. But again, we'll see, obviously, on Sunday, this really moving event with the dedication of the Martin Luther King Memorial and President Obama there as this dream from, kind of a bookend to Martin Luther King's dream.
There it is.
Of
We're looking
race.
at it now. Thank you. So it is going to be a big weekend to have that permanent monument here for Martin Luther King. Thank you so much, U.S. Congressman Emanuel Cleaver. Thank you for representing the Black Caucus today. And Nia Malika Henderson of the Washington Post, who's covering this campaign.